We didn't end here overnight. It was because of the election, so we have to prepare for the next election so we can get rid of him once and for all. The othering that we have seen first by Trump, now by him, is not only un-American, it's dangerous, and we have to right-size this landscape.
That was the NAACP president there on CNN explaining the reasoning, or their reasoning, behind the organization's recent travel advisory for the state of Florida. The NAACP saying Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' policies are harmful to these communities and believe the advisory could shed light on those issues.
It's getting a lot of reaction on social media. Here with us to respond and share their own thoughts. Ruth Edmonds is the former Columbus NAACP president. Ken Cuccinelli is the founder of Never Back Down PAC. It's a group supporting a potential DeSantis presidential bid. Welcome to you both, and thanks so much for coming on. Again, there's been a lot of talk not only about this so-called travel advisory, but also more in general, the state of Florida and what Ron DeSantis is doing there. But Ruth, I would like to start with you. I know you've worked with the NAACP in the past. What do you think about this proposed travel advisory?
Thank you for having me on. You know, the National Association of the Advancement of Colored People was founded for a purposeful mission of advocating for the constitutional rights and privileges of African Americans to live to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, a necessary purpose for a much needed time. This recent move by the National Association's administration, it just doesn't make sense. To use an age-old phrase, they're cutting off their nose to spite their face. Florida is a vacation destination state with hotels and attractions beyond Disney. Florida is a significant employer of Black and brown people. Drying up Florida's economy will only hurt Black and brown people, a terrible unintended consequence. The move just doesn't make sense. And furthermore, why the economic sanction? The fight is with the governor and the legislature, not with the people and the small business owners, many who are brown and Black. Again, it just doesn't make sense. I think it's political theater to gain the attention of the masses through emotionalism, using the largest and oldest civil rights organization as a shield for the real political partisan agenda. Shame on the leadership for allowing this historically pioneering organization to be pimped and played in this fashion. And what's the gain? Is there a financial payoff for allowing the NAACP's brand and legacy to be used in this fashion? Again, it just doesn't make sense.
We'll bring Ken Cuccinelli on this and perhaps a response there from Ruth and how she responded to that, well worded, and also what you heard on CNN. Again, the president there alleging they need to get rid of Ron DeSantis. Is this going to work?
No, this is blowing up in their face. I agree with Ruth. I think the NAACP has an honorable history. It was founded for noble purposes and pursued them for many years. And this really makes a mockery of that positive history. It is a political stunt, as Governor DeSantis called it. And let's look at the data. Let's look at the data. If you were to stack states in best place to live for African Americans or non-white Americans, Florida would be at the top of the list. It's far below the average for Black unemployment. It is perhaps number one or number two for Black minority-owned business rates. It is among the lowest for crime victims. And let's take some hot topics. Police-involved shootings involving Black citizens. One of the lower rates in the country, lower than California, lower than Illinois. I don't see, by huge factors, and I don't see the NAACP suggesting they shouldn't travel to those states. The data doesn't work. And you know, even that CNN clip, obviously you showed the president there of the NAACP, but even CNN raked him over the coals with some of the data from the Florida Chamber of Commerce about what a spectacular place to do business that, frankly, Governor Ron DeSantis has created for African Americans and all Americans in Florida. And if even CNN is noting how good the governor has performed you know it's got to be for real.
Yeah, you talk about the economic opportunities truly in the Sunshine State for everyone. And then also it is a great tourist destination. We've seen politicians who've taken issue with DeSantis book their trips to Florida. Appreciate you both coming on today. Ruth and Ken, thanks so much.
Good to be with you.
Thanks.